Hey everyone, this is Angelo here with Kinetic Analysis, and I wanted to do another demo video to show you how this new capability works that allows users to upload their own asset or portfolio data and receive information on the hazards and impacts to their affected properties. So if we start with the general landing page here, this is not actually the live landing page. This is a demo account. And so we have some sample storms that are kind of pre-uploaded. And so the one that I want to focus on is Idalia, which was a major hurricane that made landfall in the Big Bend region of Florida last summer. And so if I click on this storm, what you'll see initially is the hazard layers that will load into the app, starting with the wind. And so you can see, this is something that's already provided in our app. Each of these colors here with the polygons shows the forecasted wind speeds that are expected to impact locations. And this is all at a very high resolution view, down to 2 kilometers in most places. And so you can also toggle on the surge. And so we can see that, parts of the Big Bend region, we're expecting 12 to 15 feet of surge, and then a larger area of that being 9 to 12 feet. We can look at the wave heights that we expect to see, as well as the forecasted rainfall in inches. And so those are the hazard layers that we, customarily display in our app. But I want this video to focus on this new capability, which allows a user to actually upload their own data. And so all of these kind of circles here that you see with numbers, these are actually locations that a user might have pre-uploaded into the app, which includes information such as the location of their asset, the type of asset class, whether it's a residential class or commercial building. As you can see, there's a lot of, or as you'll see in a second, there's a lot of different categories that the user can input, as well as things like the shutdown or evacuation times of said structure or facility, and the downtime or the expected duration of time that that property will be affected. And so I want to show you how this actually works. And so how we actually go about uploading data like this into the app is first by going to the top right and clicking on, in this case, the demo, which is the username that the user uses to log in, and going to manage my assets. So you can see we have to enter in some information here. And so what you can do is you can manually enter data for a single site below, or if you have, a series of locations, you can also drag and drop a CSV file, and those will all be ingested all at once. So you don't have to spend time entering it one by one. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to do a single site. So we will use the name Idalia sample. Now we need an address or a lat long. So I'm going to go over to Google Maps and I'm going to zoom in on Steinhatchee, which was a site that was fairly close to the landfall point. And I'm going to pick a site that's along the coast so that we, are expecting some storm surge. And so it looks like the lat value is 29.673429. So I'll go ahead and enter that in. 29.673429. Oops, wrong column, or wrong, there we go. And then the longitude value is negative 83.395958. Negative 83.395958. Okay. So that's our lat long. These are the different asset classes. So these basically describe, what type of building or structure. So there's all these residential categories. There's also commercial categories. This includes things like restaurants or retail stores. And there's also industrial buildings, which also includes government facilities. So I'm just going to pick the most basic one, which is a generic residential structure. This would be like a home. And let's say that the structure value is valued at $1 million. And we'll say that the contents are valued at $200,000. So the contents are the values of all of the things inside the structure, whereas the structure itself, has its own value depending on the market at that time. And so we'll go ahead and upload this site. And you can see it says that 1 records were successfully saved, and 0 records were rejected. Okay. Now, it does take about a minute or so for the damage model to actually calculate the projected losses for a site once the user uploads it. So I'll actually meet you guys back in a minute before we take a look at the output of that. Okay, I am back. It's been a minute or two. So how I like to navigate back to the main page is usually just by clicking on our KinetiCast logo up here and then zooming in on our area of interest. So you can see the site now that I've uploaded near Steinhatchee. It shows up with a purple marker. So a purple marker means that the site has actually been affected in some way. So it's actually experienced a loss. And a user would receive an email notification of this property being affected. It's not like they would have to continually log in to see if their property will be affected during a real-time event. And so that's a very big advantage of what we've done here. But if I actually click on this site, what we'll notice is that, we are expected to see a damage specifically, and we're expecting 148,000 US dollars of damage to the structure, as well as $12,000 to the contents inside, and a downtime of 22 days, which is fairly significant. And you can also see when the expected time of either shutdown or evacuation is expected to occur. This is usually equivalent to the onset of tropical storm force winds, which is when most buildings or facilities need to, hunker down for preparation of those winds to occur. And so that's pretty much it. So this is a very useful capability depending on whether you're an insurer that has locations of various interest across the world, or if you're a broker, or even just a business owner that's interested in the impacts from tropical storms, whether you're in a vulnerable area along a coastline, then this feature could be of use to you. One other thing that I forgot to mention is if we go back to here when we're entering the structure value and the contents value, sometimes the user might not know the exact value of a building, or they might more so just be interested in the fraction of the building that's expected to experience a loss. And so you can see the default values here are 1 for both the structure and the contents value. And so in this case, what the model would return is what's known as a damage ratio. And that essentially just gives the fraction of the building that is expected to experience a loss. And so you don't need to know exactly what the structure of contents values are. You can just simply enter 1 and receive a damage ratio as output. So I hope you found that helpful, and please drop any questions or comments you have down below, and I will see you guys next time.